So today I'm doing a video on basing. I'm just gonna make a little video showing you how I do it so that I don't have to include it in every single video I make. So I just take a cup. Well, I start with a model. I make a mini, and if you see, I put little platforms under his feet to raise him up off the base. I don't like when a model goes right on the base and the basing is applied around the feet, because I feel like it looks like the mini is in the ground instead of on the ground, and I'm just not a fan of that look. So I elevate the mini up a bit just using little bits of sprue. I glue it to the feet just with plastic glue, and then I glue the whole thing to the base using a mixture of super glue and baking soda to really stick it on there. Now, to make the basing compound that I use, I'm gonna be using drywall joint compound. This is a huge tub. It was like $4 at Home Depot. They sell it at any hardware store. They even sell it at Walmart. So I just use a little bit. For one base, you only need a teeny little bit. So I use 1 part joint compound, 1 part baking soda, 2 parts tacky glue. You can also use like Elmer's glue, but Elmer's glue has more water in it, so you want to use a little bit less. And 2 parts craft sand. Just any fine sand. You can even use Zen Garden sand, works really well. I've noticed. Mix it up till it's a nice little paste there. And that's it. So now I take the figure and I use a color shaper, which is like a little sculpting tool for clay. Get it a little bit wet. I put the basing compound on here. I usually hold it like this so I can grab it right here. And then I just spread it around. So I try to add a little texture to it, just making little ridges and dips. Once I'm all done, I just take my finger and go around and clean up the outside. If I see a little blank spot, I can just leave a little behind there. And that's it. So I don't know exactly how long the basing compound takes to dry. I've never really tested it. I usually just wait overnight. So once it's done, I prime it gray and then I start painting. So I paint it with just craft paint. I use brown for fantasy and gray for sci-fi. So it's nothing special. I don't water it down or anything. I literally just put a dot of paint. And I just spread it around with a little brush. If I end up getting a little too much paint on there, I just wipe it off with a paper towel. I use really crap brushes for this because they get super messed up. But it works. Just go to Walmart and buy some super cheap brushes. Now I let that dry and then I move on to the wash. Now the next step in the paint job is using this desert sand paint here. You can use Ushabti Bone, Zandri Dust, any kind of dusty, deserty, sandy, bony kind of color. Let's give it a shake. I'm gonna dry brush here. I'm gonna be using a really heavy dry brush over the top of both models. I mean both bases. Now, if you have the Citadel Color app, you go into their basing section. These bases that I'm doing here are loosely based off of Blighted Tundra and Urban Overgrowth. kind of what I'm going for here. Heavy dry brush of the bone color. Now we're gonna mix up the wash while that dries a little bit. So I'm using Soft Tone, which is like a sepia color, and then a Military Shader, both by Army Painter. Now the Army Painter washes, and their paints in general are very thick. So I'm gonna be thinning down these washes a little bit using Flow Improver. I don't just want to use water because I want them to run really well and flow really well. So I'm going to use Flow Improver, but then I don't want them to lose their body at all. So I'm also going to use some glaze medium, like Lamian medium. So glaze medium, Flow Improver. So I'm going to be using a couple drops of each. Two drops of each. And then 2 drops of glaze medium. And 2 drops of Flow Improver. Then I'm just gonna mix it all up really well into like this dirty green, muddy looking color that I actually really like. And then that's just gonna get spread over the whole base. That's it. I will be back in a minute to show you what they look like. So here's the finished product with a layer of matte varnish and the base rim painted black. Yeah, so they're super basic. I wanted something neutral that would go with pretty much any terrain type, and brown and gray just seemed to work. And then when I found that urban overgrowth thing, I just really liked it. So I like the green, the like mossy green look that it gets. I'm just a fan. If you don't like it, you can just use Agrax Earthshade or some other brown wash or whatever. But I really like the little hint of green that it's got there. But yeah, so that's it for this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down and tell me why you didn't like it. If you want to subscribe, that would be great. Really helps me out. If you want to see what gear and tools I use, I'll link my website in the description below at edgewoodhobbies.com. If you want to check me out on Facebook or Instagram, it's at Edgewood Hobbies. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you next time. Bye.